foreign power had done this to us through the educational system, we would have viewed it as an act of war. We should view it as an act of war. These people were trying to enslave us.
We're in some very interesting times.
It's just a total repudiation of everything that God teaches.
Hey, Alex Newman here, host of the Sentinel Report on Lindale TV. We have some big news for you. The Sentinel Report is moving to a primetime slot on Lindale 1.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sentinel Report. I am Andrew Muller, sitting in for Alex Newman, the great Alex Newman, who is out on assignment right now. He's traveling, working to save the country. Appreciate him and all he does. We have an awesome program, really stellar program lined up for you today. Harrison Smith of InfoWars, host of the American Journal, is going to be joining us in just a few minutes to break down what's going on with the lawfare against Alex Jones and InfoWars. He's going to offer us a really concise overview of what happened with the Sandy Hook trial and everything that led to Alex Jones being really burdened with this $1.5 billion ridiculous verdict. He's going to give us the background on that, what's going on right now with the real attack to get his X account, to steal the tongue right out of his mouth, really. And then we're going to be joined by Peter Rykowski, who is a research associate at the John Birch Society, also writer for the New American Magazine. And he has a lot of great things to share about the Freedom Index, which is a tool that the John Birch Society and the New American Magazine have created to help you know how your Congress critters have voted. So you need to stay tuned. But first, I want to start with a word from the Word, as we always do today. It's from First Peter 5:8. It says, "Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking for somebody to devour." And that is so true. We are in a spiritual war, and Satan is real, the devil is real, but Christ is King. And if we focus on him and be sober-minded through the reading of his word, we can prevail. So I'm going to start with a couple pieces of news today, just to kind of whet your palate for what's to come in the later part of the program. But California, of course, being California, doing what California does best, the left is now claiming that no U-turn signs are used to profile gay people, prohibiting them from meeting up. I saw this. I thought it was a parody, but it's a sad truth. Let's watch this video and kind of laugh and cry.
LA City Council members Hugo Soto Martinez and Nithya Raman were on hand today to help remove the signs. They say the no cruising and no U-turn signs were put up in the 1990s to prevent people in the gay community from meeting up with other gay people.
I was also surprised that these U-turn signs were still up. And at first, they seem a little, oh, okay, it's just a no U-turn sign. But when you learn the history of it and you realize that these were used to profile gay people, it's so important that we have these removed.
The LA City Council members say the signs were put up after the gay community began to grow and because there was a gay bar in that area.
My interest in getting a U-turn sign just peaked by about 100%. Just kidding, of course. But I could not believe this when I saw it. So crazy. Presidential news coming up. I think this is really interesting. The debate rules have been released and solidified for the June 17th debate. Candidates' microphones will be muted except when it is their turn to speak. This will, of course, prevent candidates from interrupting each other. But there's, a bad side to that, too. If you have a line that's said that is completely, false, a candidate cannot interject. I'm reminded of Hillary Clinton saying, it's real nice that somebody like Donald Trump is not governing this country. And then Trump said, because you'd be in jail. That famous line might not have happened, of course, under this new mute rule. And then also there is no audience, which is not great at all. And the moderators are Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, who are two real gems in the treasure chest of the left. So there's also no third-party candidates. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not allowed to be on there. He doesn't meet the requirements. They say that a candidate has to have enough states to be on the ballot for enough states, rather, to reach the full 270 electoral college threshold. People are saying Kennedy will get there, but this is one of the earliest debates we've ever seen. Very uncommon. I think it might even be the first time debate has happened before the convention, so kind of unfair to him. But I have a prediction here. I just want to get on record because I think this is interesting. One of two things is either going to happen. Either A, Biden is going to show up to this debate and he's going to be his normal self, kind of like he did the State of the Union. He's going to muddle through it, and there's going to be some hiccups, but he's going to, finish what he intended to say. There's going to be some gaffes. He's going to have the puppy face. He's going to be on the drugs and stuff. But he's going to, barely stumble through it. And then if that happens, I think we know, okay, they're going to run Biden all the way through the election at least. But something else might happen, this is all speculation, but I think there's a chance it might. What if they didn't put Biden on the drugs? What if they had him on a real tight schedule leading up to the debate, didn't give him the drugs, didn't do anything that they've been doing to him, to keep him on edge, and they just let him out there, pushed him out there, and he just failed completely. I mean, he's always been failing, but like colossal failure, worse than ever before, like really bad. What if that happened? Could that clear the way for the DNC because this debate's taking place prior to the convention? Could that then allow the deep state to say, you know what, Biden, much like George Washington, has really compromised his health in decades of service to the United States of America. So therefore, we are going to, replace him with Michelle Obama, and he is going to pass his baton to a glass ceiling breaker, the first black woman president. Interesting. So I think if Biden comes out and does his typical performance, we'll know is going to be pushed through the election. If not, if it's really bad, there might be somebody new on the way to replace Joe. All right, those are the only two news stories we have time for. Before we get to Harrison, I want to say a good word for Prepper Beef. If you're looking for a delicious and practical solution to your food storage needs, you need to look no further than Prepper Beef. I've got actually one of the bags here they sent me. It's incredible. This is New York strip. It's amazing. It's got like a 20-year shelf life. This is all-American Texas beef, and it will be a great thing to add to your kit, to your pantry. No matter what happens, you'll have some nutritious food. If you want to join the Prepper Beef family today and start enjoying delicious beef that's ready when you are, you can visit preparewithnewman.com. That's preparewithnewman.com and use promo code Newman for 15% off at checkout. That's preparewithnewman.com, promo code Newman for 15% off your order. All right, guys, stay tuned for Harrison Smith. We're going to be talking about InfoWars, Alex Jones, and the future of free speech and the First Amendment in this country. Stay tuned.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took My Pillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented My Pillow to bring you the best pillow in history, My Pillow 2.0. Just like all of you, I never imagined that My Pillow could get any better. That's why I haven't changed it in nearly 20 years. Then I heard about a revolutionary new technology, and I knew I had to bring it to you all. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
The My Pillow 2.0 is cooler and softer than the last My Pillow. It is so comfortable to sleep on at night. I look forward to going to bed, and I wake up well rested in the morning.
Sleep is all about temperature and height. My Pillow 2.0's patented adjustable fill is going to give you the exact individual support you need from your head to your bed. And now here's where it gets even better. We've all experienced those temperature-related sleep interruptions where you get too hot, you toss and turn, you flip your pillow over to the cool side. Well, all that's gone with my brand new My Pillow 2.0 cooling fabric that's made with temperature-regulating thread.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit MyPillow.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Andrew Muller here, Chief of Operations for Alex Newman's Liberty Sentinel Media, also writer for the New American Magazine, sitting in, guest hosting today. I don't know if you guys have heard, but Alex Jones and InfoWars are completely under attack. We've talked a lot on this program about the scam and sham trial against Donald Trump. Well, something very similar is happening to Alex Jones, and we are all at risk. I want to share a little clip of Alex Jones, just a 60-second clip of him outside a Texas courtroom last week talking about what's going on. Let's go to cut one.
Is lawfare and the weaponization of the legal system. I was the test case for what's now being done to President Trump, Steve Bannon, and others. This is an attempt at digital assassination. I never said or did any of the things they claimed on Sandy Hook. 2 judges in Texas and Connecticut found me guilty by default and then had literal show trials on how guilty I was. The $1.5 billion verdict is a fraud. The judges had already told the juries that I was guilty. Now, we've been in bankruptcy for almost 2 years, proving that everything they claimed about me having hundreds of millions of dollars was not true. Notice you don't hear about that anymore. None of that was true. And now, instead of wanting the money that is there, the so-called plaintiffs, who really aren't the families, it's the government that's been behind it, that's come out in court, want me silenced. They said on the courthouse steps, the plaintiffs' lawyers in Texas and Connecticut, we want Alex Jones silenced. That's what this is all about. This is about the destruction of the First Amendment in America. And now the plaintiffs' lawyers, Democratic Party lawyers out of Connecticut have filed today to try to take real Alex Jones on X away from me. Now they want my identity. Under the terms of service of X, you cannot do that because it's my own personal property.
Such a shame what's going on. Thomas Jefferson, who I think is one of the best presidents this country has ever had, he said this in a letter to Lafayette. He said, "The only security of all is in a free press." And then he went on to say, "The force of public opinion cannot be resisted when permitted freely to be expressed. The agitation it produces must be submitted to. It's necessary to keep the waters pure." Right, are incredibly murky. Joining me to break this down and give an update is Harrison Smith. He's the host of the American Journal on InfoWars, which airs live Monday through Friday, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on band.video. That's band.video. I've watched this program for a long time. He's interviewed my boss, Alex Newman, a few times. Harrison, welcome to the program. Tell us what's going on, maybe for just layman terms, people have no idea what's going on. What's happening at InfoWars and what lawfare is being weaponized against your boss, Alex Jones?
Well, as you just heard right there, I think Alex laid it out pretty well. This was a show trial. These punishments, the amount we're supposed to pay is unobtainable. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. And obviously, the purpose is to shut us down, shut down InfoWars. They desperately want to mount they want to mount InfoWars on the mantle like a prize, like a trophy of theirs. They want it to be a symbol for everybody else that this is what you get if you don't play along. This is what you get if you try to be independent, because that's what InfoWars truly is. We are actually independent. We are actually mavericks. Alex Jones actually is a self-made man, and this is largely intolerable to them. So they use Sandy Hook, but it's less about Sandy Hook as it is about whatever vector that they could use to attack us. So if he had said, if Sandy Hook didn't exist, they would have found something else. But they're trying to create a symbol of Alex Jones, like use him as an example to intimidate other people and also set a precedent and basically get people used to this in the same way that Alex Jones was the first to be kicked off of social media. He is one of the first to be, taken down like this. Luckily, we've survived. So the latest is that they did try to shut us down. They tried to essentially padlock our doors and lock us out and stop us from broadcasting. We were able to avoid that fate. We've essentially been given a 2-month grace period where through the bankruptcy process, Alex Jones is back in charge of InfoWars, and they're going to try to find a seller or a buyer to InfoWars. They're going to try to sell InfoWars to a buyer. If we have a good buyer, if we find somebody that will simply buy the company and sort of let Alex continue to run it, then we'll continue to operate indefinitely. But we have at least have about a 2 to 6 month grace period where we can continue operations and continue to get the word out.
Wow. Thanks for that update, Harrison. To me, it just seems so obvious that this is a tactic to really shut you guys up, because if it was the money they were after, you think they'd just let you keep running your business. It's a profitable business model. Of course, you guys have way more viewers than CNN or MSNBC or any of the fake media does, but now they're shutting you guys down to obviously, like you said, kind of have this be a trophy on the mantle. But what really shocked me was when I heard that they were going after Alex's personal X account. I mean, like he said outside the courtroom, that's like your identity. That's like somebody saying, you know what, I'm going to sue you and take your birth certificate or your social security card or your social media accounts or whatever it is. It's absurd. Kind of dive into that a little bit more. What does this mean for journalism if they can sue you or me or Alex Jones and then take away virtually our voice, our tongue right out of our mouth to be able to communicate with people?
Yeah, not only be able to do that, but be able to do it without allowing you to offer a defense. Remember, this was a default judgment, totally unheard of, totally unfair, really like setting new precedent here legally. And if you watch any lawyers streaming about this, there's lots of lawyers on YouTube that have talked about this, and they've been appalled at this. Every step of the way has been absurd. I mean, every step. I mean, literally, it was like, they're suing over that. That doesn't make any sense. So, well, we'll apologize. Oh, they actually want to take us to court. Oh, no, we're not even going to get a trial. Oh, no, we are going to get a trial. It's just going to be a show trial. Oh, the punishment is $1.5 billion. Oh, now they're trying to get his social media. I mean, every instance of this, I mean, every iteration of this entire saga has been like baffling and confusing and bizarre and just out of nowhere. So if they can get away with this, obviously they'll be able to do it to anybody else. And I actually like the way Alex put it, with the modern media landscape, InfoWars or, X, Twitter, these things are the way we communicate. This is like saying that they're going to take over your address and you can't use the U.S. Postal Service anymore. It's more important than that at this point. This is his personal account. And essentially they said, and this is how crazy it is, they said they wanted to take his X account away so he could basically not continue to do what he does, not continue to make money the way that he makes money, in that, by telling people the truth and having a following. They wanted to prevent him from being able to do this anymore. So this is what I would classify as cruel and unusual punishment for a defamation case. You can no longer make money doing what you do forever. You can no longer have a job. I mean, even rapists and murderers get to keep their social media accounts, right? I mean, this is completely insane. They try to find all these different ways of justifying it. But as you point out, if it was about, a legitimate punishment, a fine that was supposed to go to people to help them overcome some sort of damage that was done, then they would want him to make money. If they're going after a social media account specifically to stop him from making money, it kind of proves that the fiduciary responsibility of the lawyers or advocates in this case is clearly not the priority here. It's shutting Alex Jones up through the court system.
Yeah, so unconstitutional. We truly do live in a banana republic. A lot of our listeners are familiar with InfoWars, but some of them might be living under a rock and never heard of you guys before. I can't imagine how that'd be true. But for those people who maybe don't know tons of the background, in 2022, Alex, of course, had another sham trial that went against him, where this whole $1.5 billion payment. What's kind of the brief history of that with what happened with Sandy Hook? You mentioned at the beginning where Alex could have said anything about Sandy Hook or anything about any sort of conspiracy, which ends up being right. Alex Jones is right 99.999% of the time. So kind of give everyone a little bit of a background of what he said and what the 1.5 billion was all about and how we got to this point.
Yeah, well, it's a twisty, it's a long tale, so I'll try to sum it up as quickly as possible. But basically, the Sandy Hook shooting was questioned by a lot of people. It was probably like the number one conspiracy topic for years after it happened. Sort of supplanted 9/11. It's one of these topics that you had hundreds or thousands of people questioning, making content about. It used to be, if you went on YouTube and searched Sandy Hook, I mean, it was 400 pages of results, all questioning the current events. So this wasn't something that Alex Jones came up with, but he covers, what the conspiracy world is talking about. This was a major topic. He had questions about the official series of events, but it wasn't his thing. He didn't build his company on this. This wasn't a major point that he talked about, daily for 10 years. I mean, they're trying to, the way they phrase it, they're basically like, for 10 years, he has been, questioning this and making money. I think in total, he's covered it for like less than an hour, something like that. And this is 30. He's been doing a 3-hour show daily for 30 years. So just think about the amount of time he spent talking about topics. This made up a fraction of a percentage of what he's covered. But they have tried to define him by this. And this is just my personal opinion. I'm not speaking on behalf of InfoWars by any means. This is just my sort of seeing this take place, is it seems like they didn't realize how powerful Alex Jones and the InfoWars Platinum were until 2016, when he had a huge part in getting Donald Trump elected. And they realized we can't just let this guy be out there messing up all of our schemes. And so they found something to go after him with. It happened to be Sandy Hook. They did a big media push to sort of associate him as being the Sandy Hook guy. They took a lot of stuff he said out of context. Now, he had changed his position because he was just responding in real time to these news events happening. He had since apologized and said he was wrong and said he thought the official story was fine. And it was almost like in apologizing, they realized it was a weakness and they jumped on it and they sued him. And they essentially blamed him for harassment that the family received by people that were very tangentially related to Alex Jones. He maybe had them on his show about a different topic, something like that. And, you know, you can watch the whole trial. It really is a circus of corruption from my view. It's strange to be in this time. And this is something that I think is important to understand about what's happening to Alex Jones, is that this is what tyranny looks like. You know, I know your audience is very aware and vigilant against tyranny, but for a lot of people in America, they think if it's not goose stepping down Main Street, then it's not tyranny, right? They think tyranny is going to look like the movies. No, tyranny looks like fake trials. It looks like legal procedures that are unfair and manipulated and warped. It looks like mass media coverage to distort a story or, you know, kill a reputation, destroy a reputation, and then destroy the person's ability to correct that reputation by silencing them. This is what tyranny looks like. This is tyranny manifest. This is not, you know, it doesn't always come with a big label saying this is tyranny. They're not always wearing, you know, hammers and sickles on their helmets when they tyrannize you. This is what tyranny looks like. We can see it with Alex Jones. We can see it with Donald Trump, obviously. And really, you can see it with almost every, if not, I'd be willing to bet every single dissident, right-wing, whatever you want to call it, every independent media outlet that is not towing the establishment line is under existential threat because of this type of lawfare. And you can run through, I mean, Gateway Pundit, Epoch Times. I mean, all of these are coming under some form of lawfare right now or another. So they're trying to, you know, consolidate the narrative. They're trying to consolidate the media landscape into the approved outlets who will follow the script, and they're doing everything they can to destroy the people that won't. And in this case, Sandy Hook was sort of the tool or the weapon or the vulnerability they used to go after Alex. And he has suffered a lot. He's basically lost everything in his personal life. He's basically had to sell all of his property. Basically, the only thing he has left now is the InfoWars platform, this company he's built over 30 years, and they're trying to take that away from him as well. So this is tyranny. This is what tyranny looks like. This is how it operates. You know, people are like, so, well, he had a trial, and it's like, well, you should look into the details of the trial because, hey, Stalin had trials too. Hitler had trials too. They're called show trials. They look real because that's what tyrants do to get away with it. So I know your audience is hyper vigilant of it. You are the Liberty Sentinels, but I hope people understand that this is not the correct functioning of a judicial system. This is the weaponization of our governmental system to crush dissent in this country. And that's a very scary thing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think it's so easy in the pro-America movement. We talk about, you know, oh, if we don't win this election, or if we don't take down this particular organization or this particular movement, we are going to be facing tyranny. But you are exactly right. We are there already. It's just now taking back our country. And this is really, as Alex Jones have said for years, this is a 1776 moment. We are there. It's not on the horizon. It's not if we lose the election. We are there, and we've been there for a long time, even in the not so distant past with journalists like Edward Snowden, where we see just the absolute silencing and canceling and imprisonment and lawfare against journalists. Now they're going after the politicians. They're going after Trump and his aides, Navarro and Bannon and Roger Stone. And now they're going after Alex Jones yet again. And we have to ask ourselves, what are they so afraid of? What are the words that they are afraid of, to the point where they have to go after these people where it hurts financially? But it's going to take tough people like Donald Trump and Alex Jones to withstand it and to still be strong. And I saw you shared this on X, and I agree with it. I couldn't believe they published it. It was a cool headline from The Atlantic. Alex Jones lost everything and still won, with the subtitle, "His brand of conspiracism," blah, blah, blah. They always say that, "will live on even if InfoWars doesn't." And I think that is absolutely true. So in the final few minutes we have left here, Harrison, how can people support InfoWars? How can people support Alex Jones in this time?
Well, the good news is we're back in control of InfoWars for the time being. So you can go to InfoWarsStore.com and support us and get really fantastic products. I mean, you know, if you ever wanted to get InfoWars products, now's the time, because it won't be that much longer. But I know a lot of people were wondering, well, you know, I don't want to be just paying money to the FBI or to, you know, the people suing you. That's not the case. You go to InfoWarsStore.com. You're supporting InfoWars. That's how we stay on air. And look, they might take us down through Lawfare. You know, we're fighting with everything we've got. But even if they don't succeed in that strategy, we could still go down from lack of funds. So we really do need your support at InfoWarsStore.com. And then, of course, you can watch us and share our clips and download everything. That's equally as important as sharing the clips, sharing the information. InfoWars.com, banned.video, BANNED.video is the website where you can stream all of our live shows. And I host American Journal each and every weekday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. InfoWars.com/show, band.video. There's Rumble channels out there. So yeah, just watch the stuff, share the stuff, and go to InfoWarsStore.com, and hopefully we'll deny them the trophy of InfoWars, and we'll exist and continue to fight the New World Order for as long as we possibly. Well, until we win. How about we fight until we win? That'll be the ending.
Amen. Amen. And I wanted to end on more of a lighthearted note, Harrison. I follow you on X. People can too, at Harrison H. Smith. You're from Texas. I'm from Florida. I see that you said that long Florida is a pipe dream and a fantasy, but tall Texas, however, was once a glorious reality and will be again. I don't know, Harrison. I think we need to take Florida all the way down to Cancun, but you're saying Texas needs to go up to Colorado, it looks like, perhaps. Maybe Florida just needs to invade Texas and have Florida the sequel. I don't know, but I was a little gobsmacked when I saw that you would think us Floridians couldn't take Cancun, but just a little Freedom State rivalry.
I think you could take over Cancun. It's getting through Galveston you'd have the trouble with. No, you know, this is no time to be making enemies between Florida and Texas. We need to be allies in this. Together, long Florida and tall Texas can reestablish freedom in this once great country.
Amen. Let's do it. That'll be the subject of the next interview, how we can make tall Texas and long Florida reality. All right. Harrison Smith of InfoWars.com. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
All right. When we get back from the break, we will be here with Peter Rykowski, who's a research associate for the John Birch Society, and we're going to talk about a very effective tool you can use to help impact Congress. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rose, CEO of Genesis Gold Group. Can your retirement savings like an IRA or 401k stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our very doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. With a multi-trillion-dollar trade deficit and geopolitical instability, experts say now is the time to make the switch. Protect your retirement today with one simple phone call and receive your free gold and silver guide.
Call Genesis Gold Group today at 1-800-200-GOLD and find out how you can add precious metals to your IRA. That's 1-800-200-GOLD or 1-800-200-4653. Or visit GenesisGoldGroup.com. Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
In 1776, a nation was born, forged in the crucible of revolution. Brave men and women stood together fighting for freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. Introducing Patriot Mobile, the wireless carrier that stands with you. We are committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile. For free activation, use promo code Newman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sentinel Report. I am your guest host, Andrew Muller, sitting in for Alex Newman, who's out on assignment. You can support all of our sponsors by going to libertysentinel.org. That's Liberty, SENTINEL.org. We have a great guest for you today, somebody who I've had the pleasure to know and talk to from time to time. Peter Rykowski is the research associate at the JBS, the John Birch Society, which is a great organization. I am a member. And also, he's a writer for the New American magazine, probably the greatest print magazine in the United States. And Peter is going to tell us a little bit about something that I have been a firm believer in for a long time, the Freedom Index. It's a congressional scorecard that's based on the U.S. Constitution. And I'm convinced that if everyone used this and looked at it and read it and shared it, we would have candidates in primaries and general elections who actually believed in the Constitution. Peter, welcome to the program. Tell us a little bit about the JBS TNA Congressional Scorecard, how it works and how people can use it.
Yeah, well, thank you, Andrew. It's really great to be on today, and I always enjoy being on, with you or with Alex Newman. But the Freedom Index is the program of the John Birch Society and the New American to inform voters about how members of Congress and now also state legislators, how they're voting and to what extent they're actually adhering to the U.S. Constitution and the principles and the values of the U.S. Founding Fathers. Now, the Freedom Index, it's existed since 1971. It used to be called the Conservative Index. And since then, we've been rating each member, U.S. House, U.S. Senate, about how they're voting. And the results are really revealing. Because we see over and over again when election time comes, and we're seeing it even right now, candidates will very often they'll use very flowery, conservative sounding rhetoric, patriotic rhetoric, but then once they're elected, once they come into office, they govern the same way or very similar as as they've been doing for a very long time. They continue to increase taxes, increase the size and scope of government, increase the various unconstitutional government programs, entangle us into foreign wars, and so much more. So it's very important to distinguish between the rhetoric, especially the campaign rhetoric, and then the actual record of adherence and compliance to the U.S. Constitution. That is so important. And the Freedom Index is a very powerful tool for actually cutting through all of that, what we're seeing from the candidates, and actually getting to the core of who are they as legislators, to what extent can we actually trust in them in terms of what they're doing. So the Freedom Index is such a powerful tool. And since 2022, we actually expanded the Freedom Index to the state level. So now it's not just members of Congress, but also state legislators. And that is so important because obviously, Congress is important, but the state legislators, they, under our Constitution, the federal government's powers are supposed to be few and defined. And the powers under the state governments, those are numerous and indefinite, as James Madison said in the Federalist Papers. And they legislate on so many important issues, such as election integrity, medical freedom, nullification, whether to change our Constitution through a constitutional convention. So that is such importance. So we're very glad and thankful that we were able to expand it to the state level. So how that comes in practically is we need to get the word out about how our legislators, federal and state, how they're performing. Because so many people, not only do they not know what their legislators' records are, in many cases people don't even know who their legislators are. So it's essential that we inform voters who they are and how they're performing, and that is our tool for creating an informed electorate that can then be equipped to bring change in their communities and bring change in how they're being represented.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Peter. I want to show people kind of how to use this. If we go to a conversation graph number 1 and kind of go to that homepage of the Freedom Index, people can see that when they go to thenewamerican.com/freedom index, you can see here the various places that are across the United States. You can type in your legislator by name, and then you can go, my congressman. I'm lucky. I actually have Matt Gaetz, who we have his scorecard as well. He is a terrific person. I'm lucky that he is my representative. You can see if you scroll down, he has a lifetime score of 85%, which is pretty decent. It's a passing grade, I'd say, Peter. But when you go and look, you can also get the breakdown year by year, session by session. And you can see the last 2 years, he has had a 95% and a 97%, which is really good. And then you can see what you see on your screen right now, all these votes. And these are kind of some hand-picked things that the JBS and TNA has selected as really good rubrics. And you can see that Matt Gaetz voted correctly here. You see the green with a lot of these different things, and they'll tell you if he voted incorrectly. Tell us a little bit about the rubric that you guys use when creating the Freedom Index for, things that you measure people by and their votes. What's kind of the worldview or the perspective that goes into that to judging if somebody has a good grade or a bad grade?
Well, great questions. So we meet twice a year to pick out the votes that we'll use in the Freedom Index. So we publish it twice a year, 4 times per individual Congress. And when we look through the votes that the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate that they vote on, we really look at the U.S. Constitution because under our form of government, the federal government's powers are few and defined. There is very little under the U.S. Constitution, under Article 1, Section 8, that Congress actually is authorized to do. So, for example, there is no constitutional authorization for federal involvement in education, for federal involvement in energy or in the environment, or to regulate the economy. There's no constitutional authorization for endless foreign aid. Congress needs to declare war in order for us to actually get into overseas conflict. The executive branch cannot just do that unilaterally without congressional declaration. So we look at the U.S. Constitution, and it is a very clear roadmap for what the Congress can and cannot do, and it's usually really not that difficult to figure out, what the constitutional perspective is. In fact, it's very easy, and it's very unfortunate how far Congress has drifted from the U.S. Constitution and from the Founding Fathers' philosophy and framework, because Congress regularly legislates on a huge number of topics, including the issues that I mentioned, that it has no authority under the U.S. Constitution to actually have any say into. Now, at the state level, we also look at the U.S. Constitution, but then also more broadly, the philosophy of the U.S. Founding Fathers, because it's very clear that, when we look at the Declaration of Independence, the purpose of government is to protect our God-given rights. There's no purpose of government under the philosophy of our founders to impose a welfare state, to basically act as a nanny state, watching over and micromanaging our everyday lives. So those are the principles and the overall framework that we look at when we review the Freedom Index. Basically, we go to, what are our roots and our basic principles as a country, and we look towards that when we choose which votes to use for the Freedom Index.
Wonderful. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you guys more. I think it's such a great tool. Before we move on to our next topic of conversation, tell people one more time where they can find the Freedom Index, and then also how they can find the New American Magazine and all the great publications that go on there.
Right, great question. So there are actually 2 websites where you can go to find the Freedom Index. One is thenewamerican.com /Freedom Index, which you mentioned. That's the first site. And if you just go to thenewamerican.com and you just end there when typing the URL, you can find everything else for the New American, all our online articles. You can subscribe there, subscribe for a print magazine that you can get in the mail. You can subscribe for email updates in your inbox. So there's so much you can do on thenewamerican.com, including the Freedom Index. The second site is thefreedomindex.org, which just takes you directly to the Freedom Index and the scorecards. So not only can you look at them online, but you can also print them out. So you can print out the actual Freedom Index PDFs that appear in the magazine. And you can also print out specific scorecards for specific members of Congress or specific state legislators that you can actually just go around your community and hand out to people at events that you can place in businesses. So those websites are really handy for basically equipping you to take that information, take the information of how our legislators are voting, and then actually going about and informing voters, hey, here's the actual records of the legislators rather than just their campaign rhetoric.
Yep, exactly. And, I'm reminded, I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit, and I might butcher it, so you can forgive me, but a James Garfield, great president in some respects, not in all, but he had a great quote that's always stuck with me where he talks about the character of Congress and it's being up to the people. And he says that if Congress is brave and pure, it's because the people demand those qualities. But if it's ignorant and reckless, he said, it's because the people tolerate ignorance and recklessness of their legislators. So unless and until we wake up and say, you know what, no, we actually are going to judge you guys by a absolute, which is the U.S. Constitution, nothing is going to change at all. And I really encourage people to go to those websites Peter mentioned and print these out, subscribe to the New American magazine. There's power in having this stuff in physical print to be able to give it to people, to be able to hand it to them. Who knows what they'll do after it? Maybe they'll make copies. Maybe they'll get their own copies and disperse that. And the force multiplying that could happen as a result of those actions you take, who knows what good could come of that. So, Peter, I want to pivot a little bit to another topic, something you brought to my attention that I think is really important, which is the GOP funding bill, which includes billions for UN-backed mass migration into the U.S. I cannot believe that the GOP would do something unpatriotic and unconstitutional. Right, of course, that is not a surprise. They do it all the time. But this is really interesting story from Breitbart. It says that House Republicans in a funding bill have included billions for mass migration backed by the United Nations, International Organization for Migration. What does this mean for America? Tell us a little bit about this and just give us an update on it. What's going on?
Yeah, well, first off, this is a great example of the need for educating voters to look beyond the simple campaign rhetoric and then actually get to the records of the people who are supposed to be representing us. So what's going on here is so the Republicans, the House Republicans and the U.S. House of Representatives, they released a State Department appropriations bill to fund the U.S. State Department and various related functions for U.S. foreign relations. And in that bill, they included $2.5 billion, billion with a B, to fund the United Nations International Organization for Migration. So the key UN agency in charge of anything related to do with immigration or migration. So $2.5 billion. Now, this is very important, not just because it's a UN agency and there are major problems with the United Nations just in and of itself, but the IOM is basically the key organization behind the border crisis that we're seeing on the southern border. There have been various reports by people on the ground in Central America, and what we found is very astounding. They are literally right there assisting migrants, helping them right there actually travel up through Central America and then get into our country through the southern border. So it's been revealed that they're giving migrants things like cell phones, maps, ID cards, food, resources, helping them migrate up through the Darien Gap, up through Central America and Mexico, and then ultimately into our southern border. And not only that, but they are actively lobbying our government not only to allow them in to basically give them amnesty, but also to oppose any type of measure, any type of bill that would restrict our asylum laws, that would restrict the illegal immigration, help stop it. So they're opposed to that. The IOM, they've issued several press releases just in the past few months arguing against bills like HR 2 in Congress that would help secure our southern border, arguing for our government enacting laws to increase the number of migrants entering our country. So the IOM and the United Nations overall, they have a key role in the border crisis, and it's not happening by accident. This isn't just government officials simply doing the wrong thing but not knowing about it. This is intentional. They are intentionally letting people in. They are intentionally opening up our borders, and the United Nations is behind it. And we have been funding the UN for years, and our funding for the UN has significantly increased under Joe Biden. When his presidency started, we were giving the UN we were funding about 25% of the organization's total budget. Now it's increased to over 1/3 of their budget. And the IOM is a huge beneficiary of that. And if this bill passes, which, by the way, the Republicans introduced, that funding from our government will go up a lot more.
Yeah. And this is something we've said on this program 1,000 times, but it bears saying 1,001 times. We need to get out of the UN. This is just example number 8 million for why the U.S. needs to get out. And, one action item that people can do right now is they can go to the John Birch Society and they can learn about why the U.S. needs to get out of the UN. You guys have had a great campaign to get us out of the UN for a long time. It is way past due. You can go to the John Birch Society website and learn more about that. I'm reminded, Peter, of Donald Trump's great speech he gave at the United Nations in 2018, where he talked about America being governed by Americans, and he really spat in the face of globalists. And he even said, quote, at the UN, which I just think this is so astounding that Trump went to the UN, spoke in front of all these people, and he said, quote, we reject the ideology of globalism and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism. Around the world, responsible nations must defend against threats to sovereignty, not just from global governance, but also from other new forms of coercion and domination. And I think that we have a great opportunity to push back against the UN and the New World Order on November 5th, when we have the opportunity to potentially reelect Donald Trump. That is my opinion. I think it would be a great, one of great things we could do to push back against the UN. Of course, Trump got us out of the UN's little lap puppet, the World Health Organization, which of course caused us many great harms in 2020 and so on. So, Peter, on the topic of migration and everything that's going on in the U.S., I kind of want to get your reaction. We didn't talk about this prior to recording, but Biden seemed to be coming out through a series of executive orders saying that he is going to secure the border and do some things to limit this mass migration. What's your reaction to that? Do you think this is just some desperate ploy from the Biden administration that, hey, the debate's coming up and, we really haven't done much with this border thing and it's getting really bad, so we got to seem tough on it? What do you think is the mindset behind the Biden administration now coming out and doing something about the border, even though it's not really going to do much?
It's been very clear in the last, in the last 3 years of Biden's term as president that his policies on mass migration have been a total disaster. It's so evident, and the polls that are coming out are making that very clear. So I think what's happening is Biden's realizing that he's in deep trouble with what's going on in the border. Obviously, this was intentional. This wasn't some accident when he opened up the borders, when he basically reverted everything that Donald Trump did. But I think what he's trying to do is save face in time for the campaign. And then once the campaign ends, and if he's supposedly elected, or if they rig the election, he'll go right back to moving right forward with the open border. And actually, even right now, he signed that one executive order that purportedly restored some of the Trump era immigration standards. But then just a couple days ago, he signed another executive order helping legalize a few segments of illegal aliens. So what's going on, I think, is just a campaign ploy. He knows that voters are voters know that his policies have been a disaster, and he's trying to basically save face for the election.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Peter. We've got about 5 minutes left. I want to talk about what's going on with the Supreme Court and the whole bump stock decision with the ATF. This is such an interesting topic. Of course, you know, bump stocks have been very miscategorized, let's just say, where people think that, oh, you add a bump stock to the back of a AR-15, for example, and that makes it a, automatic weapon like a machine gun. Of course, that's not true at all. Bump stock just basically minimizes the time between pulling the trigger, but you still have to pull the trigger one time every time you want a bullet to come out of the gun. So it is by definition not an automatic weapon. But the Supreme Court went against the ATF, said, hey, you guys overstepped your bounds with that whole bump stock thing. Clarence Thomas wrote the majority opinion there. What is going on with that decision? And what should people know about the true meaning behind it? Or really, was this a good decision or a good decision for the wrong reasons? What's your take?
Yeah, so ultimately, I think it was, so the decision in and of itself, the verdict striking down the bump stock ban was correct, but the reasoning was wrong. I know I saw on social media many conservatives were celebrating this ruling. I think that actually the ruling is dangerous, and here's why. Under this decision, this was not a Second Amendment decision. The Supreme Court didn't even consider what's the role of the Second Amendment in this. What it did was it basically said under the existing 1934 National Firearms Act, which is an unconstitutional bill that, really the first major national gun control bill that Congress ever passed, and still a huge infringement on the Second Amendment. Under that bill, bump stocks do not qualify as automatic rifles. So what they should have done was challenge the 1934 Firearms Act. And what they should have done was say, hey, under the Second Amendment, any ban on bump stocks are unconstitutional. So that's not what they did. They struck it down, but not for the right reasons. In fact, not only that, but the Supreme Court actually said that if Congress wants to actually just go ahead and ban bump stocks, they can do so. So the Supreme Court did not actually protect the Second Amendment rights of Americans. All they said was that the executive branch, and specifically the ATF, cannot just unilaterally reinterpret how these laws are interpreted or enforced, which in and of itself is good, but they should have gone a lot further and actually strike down the 1934 Firearms Act as being unconstitutional and infringing upon the Second Amendment. So I think that the decision actually was quite worrisome in that sense, because the Supreme Court is actually saying, hey, if Congress wants to legislate these extreme gun controls, they can just go ahead and do so. So I think it's very dangerous.
Yeah, brilliant analysis. I couldn't agree with you more, Peter. Everyone needs to go to jbs.org. That's jbs.org. Also, thenewamerican.com, thenewamerican.com. I'm telling you guys that the JBS and the New American have the best news and analysis. And I'm not just saying that because I write for them and am involved with JBS and Alex Newman. I truly believe it. Best conservative organization and publication, I think, in the whole United States. Peter, thank you so much for being with us and for breaking down these important topics. I hope everyone will go and check out your work at the New American and the John Birch Society. Thanks for being here, and God bless you, sir.
It's great to be on. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Thank you all so much for watching the Sentinel Report. Please do go support our sponsors. You can go to libertysentinel.org. You can see a list of our sponsors on the homepage under Support Our Sponsors. Really appreciate you going to mypillow.com using promo code Newman, going and checking out Genesis Gold Group, Prepper Beef, all these great companies, Patriot Mobile, that we support, and we'd love for you to support them. And also go to InfoWars.com and support everything they're doing. I gave a donation to InfoWars this morning, and it's not because I agree with every single thing that InfoWars has ever produced, but I recognize that we are in a war right now for the soul of this country, and we are really in bad places. I think the sun is setting, and we need to act accordingly. And if they can go after one journalist, they can go after any of us. So thank you so much for watching the Sentinel Report. I'm Andrew Muller. It's been a pleasure being here, and see you all next time. God bless.
If foreign power had done this to us through the educational system, we would have viewed it as an act of war. We should view it as an act of war. These people were trying to enslave us.
We're in some very interesting times.
It's just a total repudiation of everything that God teaches.
Hey, Alex Newman here, host of the Sentinel Report on Lindale TV. We have some big news for you. The Sentinel Report is moving to a primetime slot on Lindale 1.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took My Pillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented My Pillow to bring you the best pillow in history, My Pillow 2.0. Just like all of you, I never imagined that My Pillow could get any better. That's why I haven't changed it in nearly 20 years. Then I heard about a revolutionary new technology, and I knew I had to bring it to you all. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
The My Pillow 2.0 is cooler and softer than the last My Pillow. It is so comfortable to sleep on at night. I look forward to going to bed, and I wake up well rested in the morning.
Sleep is all about temperature and height. My Pillow 2.0's patented adjustable fill is going to give you the exact individual support you need from your head to your bed. And now here's where it gets even better. We've all experienced those temperature-related sleep interruptions where you get too hot, you toss and turn, you flip your pillow over to the cool side. Well, all that's gone with my brand new My Pillow 2.0 cooling fabric that's made with temperature-regulating thread.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit mypillow.com.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rose, CEO of Genesis Gold Group. Can your retirement savings like an IRA or 401k stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our very doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. With a multi-trillion-dollar trade deficit and geopolitical instability, experts say now is the time to make the switch. Protect your retirement today with one simple phone call and receive your free gold and silver guide.
Call Genesis Gold Group today at 1-800-200-GOLD and find out how you can add precious metals to your IRA. That's 1-800-200-GOLD or 1-800-200-4653. Or visit GenesisGoldGroup.com. Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
The beef industry takes another blow as Cricket Burgers win America's best burger for the 4th year in a row. This comes after many major beef processing plants have shut their doors for good.
The beef industry continues to take a dive as cricket burgers skyrocket in demand. The insatiable insects have now overtaken cows as America's favorite animal. A market change that has even caused McDonald's to
cows are now protected cows as America's means we will no longer be seeing beef cows to be put on the endangered species list.
And here's why that might not be such a bad thing. Consider this. Cows are harmful to the environment.
Cows will go extinct.
We're living in World War III, an all-out attack against the Christian church, the Christian faith, and families everywhere. With over 80% of professing Christian teens abandoning the faith by their early 20s, it's clear we're in a spiritual battle for our very lives, and those of every generation after us. Hosea 4:6 says, "My people perish from lack of knowledge." That's why GTI created our new You Are What You Think Biblical Worldview package combining short video teachings along with textbooks, all designed to equip you and your family to discern the good ideas from the evil. Enjoy vibrant discussions over the critical issues of the day using the Bible as your guide. Go to gtimin.com, click the blue banner at the top, and enter the coupon code Newman at the checkout to receive this powerful series for only $99. That's gtimin.com, click the banner at the top, and enter the coupon code Newman at the checkout. Or purchase it directly from libertysentinel.org.